So what's going on, guys? Today we have Jaisyn Mike from Houston, Texas with us. You can check him out at Jmikefitness on YouTube and also at Jmikefitness.com. Jaisyn is a proud husband and father, 2017 IPF Masters World Champion. He's an athlete, he's an athletic trainer, he's a sports cards collector, and a sneakerhead. If you have not been to his YouTube page, you have to see what this guy can do. It's absolutely amazing. We are excited to have him on the show today. Jaisyn, first and foremost, thank you for joining us.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
So just from looking at your YouTube page and posts, you're a freak of nature. I see you lifting astronomical amounts of weight, hitting home runs, slam dunking basketball, serving up heat on the tennis court. And then I couldn't help but believe my eyes when I saw you on a BMX bike. Like, come on now. Is there anything you don't do?
I don't swim. Outside of that, everything else I pretty much try to do.
Okay.
I just always push myself to do things that are outside the box.
Yeah.
So like if you see me, I skateboard as well. So it's like when people see me, I like doing things that I'm really not supposed to do, but I'm also decent at table tennis as well. That's the other thing that I do. That's what I did before powerlifting. Table tennis.
So I mean, like on a BMX bike. So you were at a park. Were you doing like tricks and?
No, actually, I got into skateboarding around 2008. I had never done it before, and I devoted like 5-6 hours a day just to skateboard. And I got decent at it, where I could do rock and rolls, I could skate the big bowl, I could drop in from 20 feet. Just got kind of used to it, and we just got a very bad run of rain in Houston, and if it rains, you can't skate. And I was really bored. I really wanted to skate, so I went and bought a BMX bike. Okay. And I wound up destroying the bike. I was too big for it, so I had to wound up having to get all custom parts and everything in order for me to ride. And I started jumping trails and stuff like that. And then started going to skate parks and stuff. So I'm not really that good on it, but it's the fact I could drop in, I could do I could bunny hop decently. I could do 180, 360s. Things of that nature. Just enough, just to flow around the park pretty good.
Okay, I was gonna ask how's the bike doing, but
I have a bunch of them. I probably spent $15,000 on bikes, getting them custom, nice wheels, things of that nature. So everything I have to get, all the sports I get, I always have to get the best stuff. If not, it's gonna break on me.
That's the same as me. I'm with you right there. So I see behind you, man. You got a lot of hardware there. Just give us a little explanation of the time and preparation it takes to be a champion, and congratulations on your most recent achievement.
Okay, thank you. This is actually weird. I got into powerlifting 3 years ago, and I've already, made it to the top of the world. But I don't know. It's actually the first sport I've actually gotten to and I stuck with. Normally, I'll get into something and then a year later, I'm on to something else. Uh-huh. It was skateboarding, then it was BMX, then it was racquetball, then it was table tennis, and then I started this. And I never thought I would still be doing it. I thought I was going to just do one bench press meet only, and it turned into something. Now I'm a world champion. But it just initially started out just wanting to do a 500-pound bench press in a competition to say I've done it. But it turned into something else. A guy at the particular meet saw me and was like, "Wow, you're pretty good. What you about to get ready for deadlift?" And I said, "What's deadlift?" And he was like, "That's what comes after squatting, after benching." And I was like, "Oh, I don't do that. I just bench press." And he kind of was like, "Oh, like it wasn't a big deal." And I said, "So I have a question. So what's the big problem?" He said, "Well, the guy you beat on bench press had to squat before he benched. So you were just waiting on him. After he squatted, he had to bench. Now he's about to go deadlift." So I said, "What's that called?" He said, "A full meet." So when he said a full meet, I was like, "So what's a good number?" And he said, "For a guy your size," I said, "about an 1,800-pound total would be good for you." And I was like, "Well, what would be great?" And he said, "A 2,000-pound total." And I said, "Well," he said, "but a 2,000-pound total, you're going to need drugs, you're going to need a coach, you're going to need a team, you're going to need all this stuff." And I said, "Hey, look, how about this? Next year at this meet, I'm going to have a 2,000-pound total." And a year later, I had a 2,000-pound total and became one of the strongest men in Texas history.
That's crazy. So, where was the actual event held? I mean, like, because I've seen them all over the country. Because I actually did some research after finding you out. What was this last event held?
Well, actually, if you're talking about the World Championships, that was held in Belarus. That was it was like a 30-hour trip in Belarus. They lost my luggage, so I had to borrow all my equipment outside of my singlet from girls on the Team USA for the girls. So I had to borrow belts, socks, a shirt, everything. The airport lost all my luggage, and I still was able to win. The one thing about me is that I'm a master lifter, so I'm competing against 40-year-olds. Well, most people don't know I'm 40, because of all my activities and stuff. So I had a huge lead on everybody. I was favored by 200 pounds over the next competitor. So although I didn't have my equipment, I still was able to win by like 70 pounds and break 3 world records.
Wow, that's crazy. So you had, meaning you had 70 pounds more that you lifted than anybody else.
Yes. But I only squatted 600 pounds, where normally I squat 700 to 720. I only squatted 600. And so basically I was down 100 pounds going into bench press, but I bench pressed 140 pounds more than any other person at the competition. So I was in the lead right after my first bench press. So I made up all that distance on bench press.
Wow.
At the bench press, I'm one of the best bench pressers ever. I bench pressed 612 pounds in competition as a natural lifter. I hold the world record for drug-tested bench press amongst everybody. And then if you include me with all the federations, all the other guys who are non-tested or drug users or whatever, I'm still one of the greatest of all time.
That's crazy, man. Wow, congratulations. So would you say that's your favorite workout is bench press?
Yeah, the bench press is the only lift I had experience with coming into powerlifting. I had never deadlifted before. I had never squatted more than 200 pounds before my first competition. My first competition, to be honest with you, I squatted 440 pounds and bench pressed 500 pounds, and I deadlift 705. So most people you'll never see that. Most people squat and deadlifts are very similar. Mine was the completely opposite. So I've been building on my squat to catch up with my other lifts. So right now, my best all-time squat is 805, and my best bench press is 628 pounds. So my squat is getting better. So hopefully one day I can get to around 800 pounds and really put up a really good total.
Wow. So you're going to go back. You're working to go back then.
Oh no, I just did a meet weekend before last. I had a PR, broke some more world records. I broke the drug test all-time world record with a 612-pound bench press, and I benched 600 pounds on my second attempt. So that was like the first time I actually did 2 600-pound bench presses in a competition. So my next competition will be at the Arnold in May. No, not May. I have in March. I go to the Arnold in March in Ohio, and then I go to Calgary in June.
Wow. Dang. That's amazing, man. That's crazy. So you do this you do this full time. I mean, you train and then you're in the gym all the time. So it's just like, this is just who you are, man. Like you lift weight.
Yeah, I'm a personal trainer first, so I'm a personal trainer, and also I coach people for powerlifting, but I specifically stay in my lane with the bench press. So I do bench only coaching, and I have a bunch of clients that I deal with over the internet, do stuff like this with them, making sure that they're doing what they need to do to build a big bench. Because most coaches who coach and train powerlifting, they're very technical people, but the bench press is about power. And I'm not with all the technical stuff. I'm about coming up with programs to help people lift weight and get stronger. So I specifically stay within that lane, because nobody in the world, what they're going to tell me about my bench press?
Yeah, nobody matches you.
Yeah, well, there are a couple of guys, but they're not looking for coaching. So everyone else is a small percentage, whereas you have squat and deadlift, there are people who are better than me, way better than me. And there's some of them smaller. But bench press, it's not too many people that can tell me something,
Right. So what would be the best advice for somebody that wanted to get get better at doing the bench press?
Bench press. To bench. like the more you do it, the better you get at it. And like one of the biggest things that I teach guys is that not to be scared. Like for so many years, 600 pounds. This is 600 pounds of what it looks like in competition form. Our plates are 55 pounds a piece, and these right here are 44 pounds. The blue ones are 45, and they have some other weights on the other side. But our weights look different. They feel different. So like if this was regular, like gym, like 24-hour fitness, it would be 6 plates and some other little plates on the side. So the weight is different. I had to get over my fear of 600 pounds. So like today, I proved the point. I did it this morning and then came back and crushed it again before the interview. So I want to make sure that 600 pounds is nothing. I want to make sure I'm not scared of it. At any time of the day, I can roll out of bed, bench press 600 pounds on command. That's what my goal is to do. Right. And anybody should do that. So if your goal is 225, make 25 your bitch. Pardon my French. Like if that's what you want to do, you have to get, I don't care if it's 135. You have to get to the point where you're feeling good enough and strong enough that you can handle that weight. And progressively over time, you can just keep getting better. So I didn't always bench this much weight. I have a video where I almost killed myself with 405 because I used to be a model as well. And I had cut down for a photo shoot. It's on YouTube. It got a bunch of hits or whatever where I almost got killed by 405 and I was a lot smaller. And from there, I put on almost 200 pounds on my bench press since then.
So you literally had a hard time, like it came back down on you?
Hard time. I couldn't get it up. I cracked 2 ribs. I strained both biceps. It could have been bad. I could have died. But I walked away from it.
Whew. Praise the Lord, man. That's crazy. And look where you at now. That's amazing.
Yeah, you get lucky sometimes.
All right, man. So basically, I wanted to have you on the show because we're basically into sports cards, sneakers, stuff like that. But at the same time, this is absolutely amazing what you're doing, and you're helping people out. Their satisfaction of life is improving with your every day. So that's absolutely amazing. But I was doing basically just like a basic YouTube search, and one of the videos that popped up, because I had never seen you, but sports cards review that you had just recently purchased a few sports cards. It came up, and so I started, that's when I hit you up, and you said, hey, schedule the interview. So I was like, wow, that's amazing. Just tell me a little bit about your collecting, how long you've been collecting sports cards, and what really brought you into that type of hobby.
Okay, I as a kid, I remember starting out in 1983, collecting Topps cards and putting them in photo albums with the sticky stuff on them. That's what we did in the 80s before the card slots came in. We got a photo album, we stuck the cards in there, and, we had our cards. And I collected all the way until about 86. And at 86 is when I think collecting started formulating, where there are boxes and cases and things of that nature. So my dad would, take me to a grocery store or whatnot, and we'll buy a pack of cards. He'll get a pack, I'll get a pack, things of that nature. And over the years, I had just started, I never got away from it. It actually probably kept me out of a lot of trouble. Yeah. Because I never had any money, because if I had money, I always bought cards. So I always stayed in the house and had my cards while other kids were out, running the streets and stuff like that. I'm from New Orleans originally. Okay. And, a lot of my friends aren't here with us, so sport collecting and sports in general, kept me out of trouble. But I had bought cards, and, I say around 1989, 88 was when it got serious, where this is what I wanted to do. And that's all I did. So if I had money, I bought cards, I sold them, traded them, things of that nature. So, it probably really hit for me 89, 90, 91, with all the class success that came out during that time.
That's what's up. Yeah. My dad's still collecting the 87 Topps. So
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So that's out of control. So just, let's talk about some of the guys you collect. Like who were some of your, iconic figures when you were growing up? Tell us a little bit about why you enjoy collecting them.
Okay. Well, number one is always going to be Jose Canseco. Okay. That was my guy. I was born in California, in Oakland, but I was raised in New Orleans, and now I live in Houston. But Jose Canseco was the man. the myth, the legend. He was with Madonna, so he was the man to me. You had Jose Canseco, you had Ken Griffey, you had Bo Jackson, and the Bo Jackson thing kind of runs with how I play sports. I do all these things, and he's the reason why I was so versatile.
Yeah.
So I've always enjoyed collecting him as well. Christian Laettner.
Why Christian Laettner?
I was a huge Duke fan. I was the only brother in the hood with a Christian Laettner jersey. I got into so many fights over that damn jersey. But love Christian Laettner. Jordan, of course, Jordan. Who else would be? B.J. Armstrong. I collect a lot of B.J. Armstrong. A lot of stuff that people really weren't into. But I also was able to see, like, I was a pretty good judge of talent. So I would watch the future games and check, buy the back in the day, you used to be able to get the minor league cards of a lot of the guys. So I was able to do a lot of research stuff like that. So I was big into that kind of stuff.
Okay. So, nowadays there's all kinds of different collecting going on, right? Like you got people that collect individuals like we just discussed with you, Jose Canseco, Bo Jackson, who you remind me a lot of. Like just watching your videos, it's like, man, this is Bo Jackson, without the hip problem. Like
I'm old. What's the problem now?
So, but yeah, man. So like, what type of collecting are you? Basically, like we just discussed, like an individual collector. Do you collect sets? Do you, what's your favorite type of collecting out there?
Well, number one is going to be rookie cards. I found out, like, unless it's like Willie Mays or Warren Spahn or something of that nature that's super, super old, I just prefer to collect rookie cards. I typically try to find Hall of Famers or guys that I followed as a kid, and I'll try to collect their rookie cards. Back in the day, especially pre-96, most guys had 4 rookie cards, tops. It was 4 rookie cards. No insert rookies for the most part, except for the rookies by Don Russ, rated rookies from Don Russ. It was very few actual insert rookie cards. So I collected, like, if it was Tony Gwynn, I might get all of the Tony Gwynn rookie cards. You're able to collect that way. I stay away from inserts. I got into sets, but the sets I typically collected were of the new stuff. So if I started buying, like with the tribute, I was interested in trying to collect that entire set. Things of that nature. But for the most part, it's rookies and graded cards. Those are the things that I kind of got into. The graded cards was very addictive, and I started doing that for the most part recently.
Okay. Well, so what's the best set of all time? Is it tribute or is it?
Okay. I would. That's a very tough question. I would say of the new stuff, I like the tribute a lot. The 2011 Yu Darvish tribute set. That was a beautiful set.
Okay.
I really like that for a new set. I would say for the old set, well, actually they have if you look at the Topps Chrome basketball 2003 LeBron James class, that was a beautiful set.
That was a great set.
And 1989 Score football is probably the most underrated, and probably I think will have the most potential to jump, like stuff that you can get pretty cheap now. I think that would be pretty good set to start with.
That's the green border?
The green border, yes.
Barry Sanders.
Yeah. Barry Sanders, Troy Aikman, Michael Irving, Deion Sanders, Derek Thomas, Chris Carter, Rod Woodson. Like that set
that was a deep draft. Yeah.
Well, it's not really the draft. Back then, rookie cards didn't come out on the rookie year sometimes. So a lot of times, guys, rookie cards wouldn't come out for 2 years after they were in the league already. Okay. Like their first year or so, they wouldn't have a rookie card.
So is that kind of like with Jordan? Why Jordan's that Fleer? It's not his rookie year,
right? Not at all.
But that one is the one everybody collects.
Yeah, because they didn't make an 85.
Okay.
They made they made 86. They didn't make anything for 85.
Okay.
Akeem Olajuwon had an 85 star card.
Yeah.
But his rookie card is the 86 Fleer. Okay. So all those guys, Barkley, Olajuwon. Because if you think about it, it was Dominique, Olajuwon, Spud Webb, Sam Bowie, Barkley, Patrick Ewing, Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars. All those guys had rookie. Tom Chambers. All those cards in that set were rookie cards.
Yeah.
And those guys were drafted like in 3 different drafts. But, back then, everybody didn't get a card. That also was around the time Tecmo Bowl was out. And I don't know if you remember Tecmo Bowl.
That was the game.
But think about it.
Just drop back,
they made,
pass.
But you played with the same team for 4 or 5 years until a new game came out. A game didn't come out every year. Right. So with the card companies, it was pretty much the same thing. Now, baseball always pretty much they came out with a rookie card in their rookie year for the most part. Yeah. And sometimes they'll just put them in the traded set.
Okay.
But I actually have some of the cards to give you an idea of stuff I collect.
All right.
I had brought like a couple of handfuls of stuff that I like, but give you an example. The Chris Mullin 80, 86. This is also in that rookie set.
Okay.
The Chris Mullin. James Lofton, Hall of Famer. This is 1980 tops. 1979 tops.
Okay.
Marcus Allen.
Oh yeah.
Rookie card. Troy Aikman. This is a grade 10. This is a grade 10 Troy Aikman.
You got a 10? Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Jerry Rice rookie card. Now this is only an 8.
Yeah, that's still worth money though.
I would like a 10, but I can't afford a 10 right now.
I don't think I can.
Deion Sanders, grade 10.
Nice.
This is a Lynn Swann rookie card.
All right.
And his running mate, Stalwart.
Okay.
So stuff like this is what I got into.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know how many more I can go through, but, I have Mario Lemieux's rookie card.
Yeah. Nice.
This is the Topps version. Yeah. I have the OP Chia as well.
Okay.
But I try to get stuff that people, Deacon Jones, now this is only a grade 6, but that's the kind of stuff I like. So if I have to lower my quality level just a little bit in order to get a card, I'll do that until I come up with an arrangement where I can move up. And I typically move up grade by grade, depending on how much the card is fetching for or something of that nature. But I have Mean Joe Green rookie card. It's just like things that catch my eye. Or the Lawrence Taylor. This is the grade 9 Lawrence Taylor.
Okay.
That's a pretty nice card. Or the Allen Iverson, 50 edition.
Oh, nice. Is that the chrome or is that the foil?
No, this is the chrome.
Okay.
I actually got this. I got this for $4.
Oh,
graded. Yeah. So. That's kind of the stuff I like. I like stuff that's from my era.
Yeah.
My era, especially from when I was an athlete or when I was in high school. And I'm very connected to the the 96 draft. That was the year I graduated high school.
Okay.
But that also was the Allen Iverson, Kobe Bryant, Steve Nash, Ray Allen, Stephon Marbury gear in terms of collecting. So I have a big connection with that particular class.
Okay. All right, right on. So you were talking about, so there's a big gap between collecting what you some of those cards, right, from back in the day, and then, you said you collected the 2003 era.
Yeah.
But then the 2012 is what brought you in the Topps Tribute. Tell us why Tribute brought you in. Is there like a particular reason that Tribute? I mean, was it the set? What I mean.
Not at all.
Okay.
Actually, the 2003 was the LeBron James year. That was during the time we were wearing throwback jerseys, wearing jerseys down to our ankles and all that kind of stuff. But I had bought the Carmelo Anthony rookie jersey as well as LeBron James rookie jersey from that particular year. And I said, well, I was a school teacher at the time, and I wanted to just get in a couple packs. So I wanted to make sure I always got the best rookies from each year. So I would typically jump in, try to get a couple rookie cards and be good with it.
Uh-huh.
But, a lot changed from 2003 to 2006 or 2007. I was in New Orleans, Hurricane Katrina, lost a lot of my cards, lost a bulk of my collection.
Oh.
So when I came back when I wound up moving out to Houston, I got established, was making decent money and things of that nature. So I decided to get back into cards a little bit. And I remembered the last time I bought cards, you used to be able to get a box of cards for about $50, to $70, for a good pack of cards,
Yeah.
So I wound up going into a little local card shop or whatever, and they had a guy in there, with the fever, he's in there buying packs, and I'm like looking like, man, what is this guy buying? At the time, he was buying the playoff football that had the Cam Newton, the Colin Kaepernick, Blaine Gabbert, all those guys were in that particular set. And to be honest with you, that box was going for about $100 a box, which is crazy cheap for how good that set was.
Yeah.
The guy had bought like probably 4 or 5 boxes of that, and he did okay. He wasn't doing great. Uh-huh. He got a couple of cards, whatever. But then the tribute, they said, man, tribute set. So the guy started buying boxes and stuff. So I'm looking at him, just watching him, and I was like, how much is that stuff? And he said, 50. And I was like, 50? No, he said 55. I said, man, that's pretty good. I said, how many cards? And he said, it's 5. I was like, 55. I said, $55 a box for that little cards. I said, that's only like 30 cards. He says, no, it's $55 a pack. And I said, it has 5 cards in it? And he was like, yeah. I was like, this crazy. So this dude is just he's ripping open stuff. And at the time, I didn't realize that collecting had changed that much. And, the cards had cases. Each one pack had a case card in it.
Yeah.
And as he's opening, they're explaining to me what's going on. Like, each case has a mega hit, and then they had different levels of hits within a case. So I was trying to figure out why everyone was so adamant about starting and opening up a new case. Mm-hmm. So I didn't understand, like, why, if you're not there, you should never buy a pack of cards if you're not there when the case is open, because someone may have already gotten
you don't know who got the hit. Mm-hmm.
So you might as well just go ahead and just go to another shop and open up a case. But I didn't understand anything about this new age way of, card collecting and whatnot. So the guy was opening up. He had opened up 8 boxes of tribute, and he didn't have anything. He didn't have anything. And I was looking. I was like, man, I would never spend $300, $400 for a box of cards. But then as they're explaining to me how this stuff works, I'm like, wait a minute. So he's opened up 8 boxes and hasn't gotten anything yet. And I think I don't know if he ran out of money or just got frustrated, but he was like, got down to his third. He said, I'm about to buy this last box. If I don't get anything good, I'm done. So he buys the last box, and he didn't get anything. So he was like, I'm done. So I was like, give me the last 3. And I remember it came up to like $1,000. I hadn't bought cards in years. And here I'm about to chuck $1,000. So I give him the money. I open up. I get the Darvish autograph rookie card.
Oh man!
I get Stan Musial 1-of-1 plate. I get the whoever you could name in the set. I got probably $10,000 worth of stuff out the thing. The guy gets so mad. He gets all the cards he had bought that day and just throws them against the wall. Oh. So he basically trashes a whole 8 boxes of tribute because he was so frustrated by what happened.
Yeah.
And that's the first time dude was telling me that, people, get that cardboard crack, and and he was explaining to me how he has to sometimes, not let people buy cards, because he's seen, people lose their marriages, mess up their households behind cards, So that was like my first experience and reintroduction back into the card game.
Yeah. Well, shoot, you got back in and you dropped 1,000. I bet if you told your wife, she'd go crazy.
She don't know.
All right. Well, we won't. Yeah, don't tell her about this video. All right. So another way of collecting is like the stock market, right? You could buy low, sell high. It's taking a gamble on athletes that you think have potential that you think are way undervalued. If you were to buy somebody right now that's actively playing, that is at a buy low, sell high, who do you think you pick up?
A particular sport?
It don't matter. Whatever you want. Basketball, baseball, football. Who do you think is undervalued?
Man, that's tough. I mean, so you got basketball. Man, it's kind of tough because a lot of the guys who are the guys, they're already there. Oh, Victor Oladipo. I think he's somebody that buy pretty cheap. right now and get some pretty good rookie cards for. I actually took a shot similar to what you're asking with Evan Turner. I had bought a crap load of Evan Turner. And I bought it after he got traded because his game was very much like a do-it-all, triple-double, like a Brandon Roy type of game, you know?
Yeah.
And I thought he would break. So I spent like probably two guys. Andrew Bynum.
Oh, no.
And Evan Turner.
Okay.
I spent a crap load of money on those two guys.
Yeah.
Because I thought that Evan Turner could have turned it around, but when he got hurt, he just lost way too much athleticism and just couldn't bounce back. So I have a bunch of really nice Evan Turner autograph cards, as well as a crap load of Andrew Bynum cards. You know, if he didn't sign that big contract, I think he would have been all right.
Yeah.
But once he got that money and it was guaranteed, he sold it in, man.
Something happens to somebody when they get all that money, you know? Like, I mean, like, what was it? Chris, who was the guy out in Tennessee Titans? They called
Chris Johnson.
Chris Johnson. Outstanding year. Got paid. We didn't see much of him out.
Well, also Chris Johnson was actually a very unique situation. He was light in the ass, man. So you can't be that light to play running back.
Yeah.
And you can't absorb those blows at that level. I think initially it was good, but I think his shelf life just wasn't going to be long. It was just like Reggie Bush. If Reggie Bush was healthy, Reggie Bush was a very good player. But when you're that small and that fast, you take those hits, you can only stand so long before something breaks.
Right.
You know, but as you talk about guys to look out for, one guy that I'm probably going to start buying a lot of cards for, but we're a little too close to Louisiana, is the the backup quarterback in New Orleans. That guy, they believe he's going to be Drew Brees' replacement. They're not going to draft him.
Something, isn't it? I don't know.
He was like, they have him on kick return or something right now, but apparently he has some freak arm. He runs 4.43 40. He ran that as a quarterback, and they believe he's next up.
Wow.
So I'm actually about to start buying a bunch of his stuff.
All right.
Only thing is I believe he might be in a lot of the insert editions and stuff like that because people started talking about him.
Yeah.
But he's somebody that I would take a flyer at that you might be able to get a decent price on. But if he ever gets a chance to play, Drew Brees might not get his job back. That's from what I'm hearing from guys that train and play for the Saints and stuff like that. They say they're very high on that guy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Can't think of his name offhand.
So you think Brees potentially could get traded this year?
No, he won't get traded, but he could get hurt.
Okay.
Like he's one step off the cliff too. Like I think Drew Brees.
He's getting old.
So if he ever gets hurt, I think the other guy will come in and he'll never play again because he has to make the decision this year if he's gonna, try to break the bank or stay in the NFL.
Yep.
You know, like if he signed like a 3-year, $60 million contract, that's enough to where the Saints could still function and put together a team around him. But if he goes for a $30 million contract, he gets hurt one time, they got to get rid of him.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like the same instance with Tony Romo, right? Tony Romo was just one injury away to revealing Dak Prescott. So
yeah, but I think that's a little bit different. I think Tony Romo didn't have 17 years in the league. Tony Romo was often hurt. You know, when you look at guys like Brady and Breeze, they've been able to stay healthy. You know, if Romo would have been able to stay healthy, Tony Romo is also another guy. I believe they're going to get him into the Hall of Fame. He's going to get into the Hall of Fame some kind of way.
Okay.
So he's somebody that I would buy if I didn't live in Texas. People in Texas value his cards a little bit high, so a lot of the Cowboy stuff in Texas is a little bit high. If you're trying to just buy stuff not on the on the internet or whatever,
right.
His stuff is a little high. But Romo's not a bad guy to collect.
Okay, I have noticed that Dallas collectors are really good collectors. Like, I did an advanced research on eBay and saw like the highest team that was collected was Dallas Cowboys. Like those.
Where was Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh actually was probably second.
Yeah.
Is that your spot?
They love Hines Ward, man.
Oh,
they love Hines Ward.
Well, okay, so just my claim to fame with Hines, his mom, okay, so I'm half Korean. He's half Korean. Hines' mom went to my mom's church. So I know my friends are gonna give me so much crap for even mentioning this, but you brought him up, so I had to go ahead and get my 2 minutes of fame there. So in Hines, before he went, because he played at Georgia, right? So he
quarterback.
Yeah, he was kind of like a Swiss Army knife, man. That guy did everything.
Like Cordell Stewart.
Yeah, so he came to our church one day and he talked to us real briefly, and he came with his. I'm assuming it's his wife. I don't know if it's his wife now, but yeah, man, they came and said what's up to us, and that was I was a kid, So, but he was drafted in what, 96?
His rookie year is his rookie. He has a 98 finest rookie.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
All right. So yeah.
Is it? Or it might be. It might be 9. It could be 96. Could be T.O.'s year.
Yeah, I think it was 96.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to go. I started looking up all his stuff too. Because I was like, I wanted to collect him because I know he's a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame. He's going. So. No.
He has. Long as T.O. gets in before, like long as I hope T.O. gets in. T.O. is also one of my favorite players of all time.
T.O. I saw.
They're killing my guy, man. He needs to get in. He needs to get in this weekend. Actually, we'll find out this weekend.
Yeah. What about Bonds? You think they're gonna bring him in?
They're gonna make Bonds wait to his last. Him and Clemens, they're gonna make them wait to their last year of eligibility, and then they'll get in.
Okay.
But I just think that's garbage too. Like that's also something. When I was in college the year Mark McGuire revealed that he was taking Androstone Dione or whatever. Is it Androstone?
So that was what he was taking that got him in trouble.
Well, that's what got people on his radar because what happened was he was doing an interview and he was at his locker, and one of the reporters said, "What's that behind you?" And he turns around and he grabs this little pill. These pills, he said it's called Andro. So mind you, I was playing college baseball at the time. Every baseball player was going to GNC to get some Andro. And Andro, at the time, the Andro had ephedrine. That stuff was so potent. Like you'll take it and you'll just have jitters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And during that time, steroids, guys were hitting 50, 60 home runs around this time. Yep. 96, 97, 98, 99. And it just seemed like, they left the players out to dry a little bit because they knew, all the owners knew that they were on that stuff, man. Everybody knew. It wasn't no secret. But then you turn around and now you condemn all those guys. I believe the pitchers were juiced up just as much as the hitters. And I think that era just needs to go down how it was. And then if you think about it, baseball is the only sport they really care about the numbers because Terry Bradshaw was using steroids. No one cares about Terry Bradshaw using steroids. And that's a known deal that he was taking steroids playing football. But it's baseball, the one that people care about the most. And I don't know if you see in the video, I bench pressed 500-600 pounds. And when in the videos you saw, I was benching like 500 pounds. I was hitting balls out. Crazy, right? Boom, boom, as a 500-pound bench presser. When I played college baseball, I didn't lift weights, and I still was hitting the ball like that. If you take a big old dude, give him a baseball bat, that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to hit the ball out the park. What I think steroids did for those guys, I think it gave them like a fearlessness, like where they didn't care if they got hit with the baseball. They just would dig in. It gave them like an edge. I think that had more to do with than just outright strength. I think it gave them more of a mental competitive edge over just physically being stronger and hitting balls out. So I think that if you had pitchers who were throwing harder because of steroids, able to recover on 3 days rest instead of 4 days rest, I think they had the same type of advantage as well.
Okay. Wow.
Excuse me.
So you think Bonds will get in? You think Clemens will get in? They just got to get over that whole, yeah, I see what you're saying.
See, the thing is that the old guys don't want those guys in, and mostly because the new guys that came in destroyed the old guys' records and stuff. And if you think about it, the game was much easier outside of the racial tension for the guys in the 50s and 60s. If you think about it, back in the old days, pitchers used to pitch complete games. Mm-hmm. Like if you look at the back of cars, baseball cars, and look at the pitchers' stats for the year. they'll have like 27 complete games. So you mean to tell me you have a pitcher who's starting the game off throwing 90, 91 miles an hour. When he gets into the sixth inning, he's throwing 87, 86. Then if he gets to the later innings, he might be throwing 86 still. But these new guys are facing 100 mile an hour every 4 innings, every 3 innings. They're facing a guy that's pumping 100 miles an hour now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's very specialized. So when you see a guy who's putting up those big home run numbers, you also got to look at the fact of how many pitchers he's facing. You know, he's facing the starting pitcher.
Yeah.
Then typically, if you're the big hitter, when you come up with runners on base or whatnot, they're bringing in a specialist to get you out. So if you're a lefty, they're bringing in a lefty from the bullpen to get you out.
Right.
Then in the later position, when you come up again in the ninth, if you're that guy, they're calling another pitcher to get you out.
Okay.
So as a hitter, it's harder. Now, as a pitcher, it's actually a lot easier because now you can blow your load in the first 5 to 6 innings.
And they're going to for you.
But back in the day, you stayed out there. Back in the day, some of those older guys were throwing double headers. Like Satchel Paige, Walter Johnson, things that nature. Those guys were throwing double headers, you know? Yeah. So it's just a difference in baseball. So when you look at the numbers and the stats, I think it's kind of hard. It's easy to say what era is better, but a lot of those old school guys, they resent the guys from today, you know, so much. And a lot of those guys are responsible for the voting and the bitching about who gets in the Hall of Fame and who doesn't. So maybe when all the old sports writers die off, as well as when the older players, die off, I think that'll allow those other guys to get in.
Yeah, times change, and we'll see where it all goes. So back to cards real quick. What would you say your Grail card is? Your favorite card that you own?
Well, the Grail card, and the grading changed this.
Okay.
The Grail card always was the Jose Canseco Donruss 86, right?
Rated rookie.
Well, now I got 30 of them, right?
Oh.
And I got a bunch of grade 8s. I got a bunch of grade 9s. I don't have a grade 10, which is crazy. The Bo Jackson tip. I would say the card that I want to buy the most would be the Bo Jackson Tiffany 86 tops traded.
Okay.
Gem Mint 10.
That's a nice card.
I want that card, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna pay for it. But that's the card that if I or even a walk. See, it's tough, man. It's like I'm from the grading has made me change my thoughts on it. It's like, do I want the card or do I want the grade?
Uh-huh.
And I think that I've gotten into the point where I have most of the cards that I want. I don't have the grade that I want.
Okay.
So when you look at maybe I have Joe Montana's rookie, but I want a grade 10. And that's a card that's within I could probably pull off a Joe Montana and not feel too hurt. A Jordan, Grail would be a grade 9. I would take a grade 9. I don't need a 10. But a lot of the cards that I would be interested in, I'm scared to mess with because it's the counterfeit stuff. It's kind of a little weird for me.
Oh, they got me once with the Jordan.
On what?
A Jordan. They got me. So I was on eBay when I first got back into sports cards. It was when Jeremy Lin, it was like the 2012, just like you. So, Jeremy Lin was popping off during that time, right? So I just started getting into cards. I went and bought a Jeremy Lin rookie card. Then I just went on this tear, right? So I was on eBay and I was like, oh, look at this, a Jordan for $200. Bought it, sent it to PSA. They sent it back to me. They said, this isn't a real card. So I was like, oh, okay. So now
did they put it in the case?
No. They just sent it back to me with a sticker on it that said, it's not real.
So did you get your money back?
For the card? No, because it was like years. It wasn't like years down the road. It was probably a good solid 6 or 7 months. So my window of opportunity to getting that money back had already gone. So.
Oh, wow.
It was a good learning experience, but you're absolutely right. You guys out there, if you're watching, be careful. There's fakes everywhere, even with
most definitely watch the 89 score football as well as the 86 Fleer. That stuff is crazy. Like, that's a very tough set to mess with just for the fact that they have a lot of fakes.
Okay. Even oh man, yeah. I could even see the Jerry Rice's And the Joe, they even had so my dad, he was into Joe Montana, like you were talking about, and what they were doing was they were cutting
the edges. Yeah.
So people are like, they know people want to grade them, so they're selling them, and then it comes back. Evidence of trimming is what PSA will send the card back to you as if they think that it's been tampered with. So there's all kinds of scams out there, man. So yeah, it's just like J Mark said, y'all be careful out there.
And also with the cutting of the cards. When I first got into the collecting the graded cards, I didn't understand what some of the stuff meant.
Yeah.
So like if it had ST on the card, I didn't know that meant stain.
Yeah.
Or like if the card, off centered. Yeah. I didn't know what none of that meant. I just saw, I have a 9, but I'm like, it's off centered. And I'm like, but it's a 9. It's like, nah, but it's off centered. So I had to figure out a way to start, learning what I was buying a little bit better.
Yeah. So do you grade personally? Have you ever sent out for grading or no? You just buy it?
Actually, I haven't. And, the little brief conversation we had before, I didn't understand. I never thought about collecting in the reverse, because back in the day, we used to buy bulk cards. We would get, it was mostly trash cards. So it would be like a Sammy Sosa Dawn Russ. And you could buy 100 of them for about $25, right? Because it'll be like $1 a piece or something like that. And you get all these cards, right?
Yeah.
But now if you were to do it, you would buy that bulk of cards. You might spend $70, $80, and then you go through it and you really break down a card. Now, I can look at a card for the most part and kind of give it a grade of what I think it would be, and maybe it's good enough to get graded. But I haven't messed with the newer stuff enough at that level. The things that I was looking at was like I think I pulled it. It's this one particular card. All right, so like this card right here, Steve Van Brocklin, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Steve Van Born.
Yeah.
This is a very valuable card, right?
Okay.
This is the 1949 Leaf green.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, I wound up getting this card for $60. It's worth like $1,500.
Okay.
Right?
Could you tilt it down a little for the? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's just a little bit of a glare there. That's perfect.
So depending on the colored jersey or how it was graded depends on the price. And I'm not sure if the person that was selling it knew like which one he had or whatever. People just didn't pay attention to the card in the set, and I wound up getting it. But if I had got this card, I may have sent this card off because it's so old that maybe even at a grade 4, it'll still give it more value. So I have Ray Nitschke, before Ray Lewis and Lawrence Taylor. Ray Nitschke, played for Green Bay Packers. He was considered the greatest linebacker of all time. So I was able to get a couple of his rookie cards, and see if I can find them right quick. But I was able to get, I found one of them. But I was able to get 2 of his rookie cards. Now, this is something that with the grading, like, this is a crazy hard set, right?
Wow.
You had the Deacon Jones rookie card came out of this set as well. But these cards are all trash. Like, if you look at them, like, if you see this card as a grade 7, it's probably close to $1,000, right?
Oh, wow.
But, so it's like one of those cards where if you can just get it graded, anything.
Right. Just
the value of it.
Right.
Yeah. It goes up. It goes up tremendously. And I was able to I paid $100 for these 2. And if I get them graded, I might be able to they might want to be $300 a piece.
Okay.
It just depends on, what they come back at. So I never thought about getting the bulk of some of the newer cards. You're not buying a case of these. It's not going to happen. If you do, you're going to spend a couple $1,000 because these are pretty high. I think they're around 125, 150 a piece, raw,
Yeah. So is that your favorite sport to collect would be football? I mean, would you say predominantly most of your cards are football cards or baseball?
No, well, it's 100% baseball.
Okay.
Baseball is by far
it is the OG, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so it's just what I have because I have so many guys that I came up with, like Tony Gwynn, Cal Ripken, Roger Clemens, Darryl Strawberry, Dwight Gooden. It's just so many people that I came up.
That was the era. That was the era for baseball, for sure. Now I just feel like baseball's backsliding a little. Football took a little hit this year with everything that it had, all the controversy that was going on, ensuing all that stuff. And then basketball has kind of risen. And, basketball was probably the least collected, I want to say.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
I think hockey was more collected.
Nah, don't disrespect that, man. Nothing's working. If hockey couldn't, when Hockey 91 Upper Deck came out, and that didn't make it, hockey's done.
Okay, all right.
There's still a lot
of hockey collectors, man. One of the top guys is I think, what's his name? Connor McDavid. He's a hockey player, but I digress.
He plays for the Oilers, right?
Yes.
I always know who the rookie cards go get, so I'll go and grab some of the younger guys' rookie cards just to make sure I have them.
Yeah.
But if you look at Eric Lindros's rookie cards, they're affordable. Nicholas, I can't think of his name. Pavel Bore, rookie cards are very cheap. Eric Lindros, all those guys that were really, really good in the early 90s, their rookie cards aren't worth that much. But so I went out and got a lot of those cards in the grade 10. So I have a lot of hockey grade 10. I have Bobby Hall rookie cards. I have a bunch of them because they weren't that expensive, so I was able to get them.
That's actually a really good. You know how we were talking about buy low, sell high. Now that's another strategy right there, because hockey might not be on right now, but one day, you never know, something might make it just boom. And guess what? You got some grade 10s you're sitting on. You've been waiting, and now you can sell them for crazy amounts of money because now there's some exposure to more so to hockey than there was ever before.
They need a LeBron James, like a real LeBron James. Like, you had Crosby, you have what's the boy play for the Capitals?
Ovechkin, right?
Ovechkin.
Yep. Great
players, but they're not Jordan.
They don't dominate.
You know what I'm saying? They need like a LeBron, like a big black guy that's so fast, so strong, who's a rock star, who dates models, who gets speeding tickets. They need that type of guy that can save the sport. I think with Johnny Manziel not panning out, he killed football a little bit because he was the one that could have carried it into the new age, the hip hop age, made football rock and roll quarterback, that Jim McMahon type thing. And when he failed, they lost a lot of money with him not doing well in collections.
Yeah. Well, he was on the Browns too, so I hope you weren't banking too much on that.
I used to see him out in the club too much, so I that's why I knew he wasn't gonna make it. He was out.
Oh, you see it? Yeah, okay. So you saw
because he used to come to Houston a lot. He went to A&M, so he used to come to Houston a lot to party. So I used to see him out all the time. If you see a guy out all the time, you can tell when they're not gonna be good.
Okay. So I'm a Vikings fan. Didn't Case Keenum play at Houston?
Yeah, he was he also went to the University of Houston.
Okay.
And it was a lot of pressure on the Houston Texans to draft him, but they did originally. I don't think he didn't. I forgot who he originally went with.
No, I think he did go to the Texans, but he may have been undrafted. Okay.
Whatever it was, the pressure to get him was high because at Houston he was putting up crazy numbers.
He set records. And
but
records. People don't know
he didn't have ideal size. He didn't have a big throwing arm. So they passed on him, just like they passed on David Carr. They could have got David Carr at the end of the first round. They let him go. Then they wound up getting the first pick of the second round. Everybody thought they were going to go after David Carr, but I mean, what's his name? Not Derek Carr.
His son,
but his brother. His brother was here, and they were just like, it's too much. Like, David Carr set the Texans back so far, they wanted no part of his brother, and they could have gotten him in the second round.
So what are your teams like? I know you're an Oakland Athletics fan, right? Because Jose Canseco.
The way free agency worked, and I came along in sports when B.J. Armstrong was the highest paid Bull. So I don't know if this is going to make sense to you. B.J. Armstrong was the highest paid Bull at one time. That was with Scottie Pippen,
Uh-huh.
Michael Jordan, Horace Grant, B.J. Armstrong's the highest paid bull.
That makes no sense.
That makes sense?
No.
Well, that's why team basketball was able to thrive in the early 90s, late 80s, because you were able to sign lifetime contracts. Magic Johnson signed a lifetime contract with the Los Angeles Lakers. That gave him freedom not to make as much money as all the rest of the guys. He was able to delay his payments, and they were able to give Worthy his money, give Byron Scott his money, give Kareem his money, Kirk Rambis his money.
Oh.
Well, with team sports now, you can't keep a team together. So I don't invest in guys. I don't invest in teams anymore. I invest my energy into players I enjoy.
Okay.
So that's how I watch sports now. I don't have a team. I hate arguing with people who know nothing about sports, about a team. So I just tend to like players. I tend to like the guys who are a little over the top, who are a little misunderstood. Like, Terrell Owens is one of my favorite players.
Yeah.
I like Barry Bonds because he was an asshole. And also, I think Barry Bonds is the player of all the guys whose cars kind of sank. He's the one that I think is going to make the biggest return if he's ever able to get into collecting 10 years from now. Because Barry Bonds was so bad about signing autographs and things of that nature, there's not a lot of stuff on Barry Bonds. He doesn't have a crap load of autograph stuff. Like Ken Griffey is going to be done. Upper Deck used him up. He has so much signed stuff through Upper Deck.
Same with Kobe. Kobe is signing so much for Panini. He's in every product.
Yeah, that's now though. Yeah, but he had the chance to do the same thing, but Barry Bonds stuck with it. Barry Bonds wasn't signing for no one, so Barry Bonds had a pretty good. I think his cars are the ones that are going to jump the most in 10 years from all the guys who have been kicked back. So you look at Sammy Sosa, you look at. I can't believe Jim Tomei got in. Jim Tomei got in, but
well, he hit over 6, right?
He hit over 6 in the steroid era. He was a terrible first baseman. He was mostly a DH. Edgar Martinez didn't get in, who was a great hitter, great technician. They made him wait. I'm just surprised. And he also didn't win a ring. Did he win a ring?
Tomei? No.
No. So I'm surprised he got in. So Tomei is not a better player than Mark McGwire. He wasn't a better player than Mark McGwire. He wasn't a better defender than Mark McGwire. So I think some of the stuff that with some of the guys that are supposed to get in, Joey Bell, Albert Bell should be in the Hall of Fame. Garrett Sheffield should be in the Hall of Fame. Garrett Sheffield is a guy that's very underrated in terms of sport collecting. Doesn't have a lot of rookie cards, but I think that 89 Upper Deck baseball. Ooh, yeah. Love that set. 89 Upper Deck baseball.
Set. It's very hard to grade too. They're very particular when you send them off to like PSA and Beckett. It's just a tough grade. Something about the hologram in the back, but all right. So let's talk about, since you talk about individualists, right? Free agents, stuff like that. Let's talk about Jordan, Bryant, or James. Who's the GOAT?
Kobe. Well, no, Kobe's my favorite player of all time.
Okay.
Jordan is the best player of all time.
Okay.
LeBron is the player that I would like to play with him. I just don't think you can win with him. Like, of the three. So if I had to pick a player and it was one game on the line, it's between Jordan and Kobe. I would go with Jordan.
Yeah.
But my favorite personally of the three, actually let me stop lying. It's just not LeBron.
Okay.
Right? It's out of Kobe and Jordan. Jordan is undefeated in finals. He is relentless. He would just try to destroy his mama. Like, he has that killer instinct. Like, every time I think about LeBron, I think about Kobe telling LeBron to shoot in the All-Star game. And LeBron's scared to shoot the ball.
Yeah.
Kobe's telling him, shoot. And LeBron shoots an air ball. Like, that's the one thing that I will always look at him as. He's a great player. He's probably going to have the most points. His numbers are going to be ridiculous when he retires. He'll never be Kobe. He'll never be Jordan.
All right. So how about this? I've seen you wearing Sunday Tiger, right? A lot of people bring Tiger into comparison now, and you were hitting the ball, 400 yards? You got any Tiger Woods cards, and could you put Tiger into that same comparison with these guys?
Okay. I think for a 14-year stretch, Tiger is better than everybody. He's better than Tom Brady. He was better than. Okay, this is gonna be weird, but the only person I think that can go up against Tiger Woods at his best is Roger Federer.
Okay, I watched I just watched him this weekend.
That's the comparison.
Yeah.
Tiger at his best and Roger Federer. Like when you look at the duration of their careers, I think Tiger was better than everybody. Like even though Jordan was good, Jordan had 6 MVP trophies. He probably should have had 10 to 11 because they just got tired of giving it to him every year. And I think LeBron was in the same predicament. And Kobe, they just hated Kobe so much. They gave Steve Nash 2 damn MVP trophies when both of those years should have went to Kobe. So Kobe should have had no less than 3 MVPs, no less than 2. Mm-hmm. They gave him the year he averaged 36 a game, scored 81 on a terrible team. He didn't get the MVP. They gave it to Steve Nash. So that's a little weird to me. But I don't know, man. Like Jordan, I say that if he didn't go play baseball, the Rockets would not have a title. So that's 2 more championships that he would have had, and most likely would have came back and they would have probably won 9 in a row. Because when he came back the first year, they lost to Shaq in Orlando. Yeah, that's when he came back wearing 4 or 5, I believe. And then I think the following year he lost again, and then after that they came back for the next 3-peat or something of that nature or something like that. But it's Jordan. I say it's Federer. Yeah. Tiger, Jordan.
Wow.
Brady. Wow. That's how I'll put it.
Yeah. Federer is amazing. I just actually, like I said, I just watched the Australian Open this weekend, and it was the final, and he won. Yeah, of course. I mean, the guy took him into the last set though, right? Or the last what do they call it?
Yeah, they went 5 sets.
Yeah, they went 5 sets. They took him into 1 more. So you play tennis too, right?
Yes. Okay. But the thing about Federer, the reason why Federer to me is so dominant is that he doesn't have a dominant shot, right? His serve is very good. It's not the fastest serve in the world.
Right.
He serves around 130. I serve 130.
Okay.
Right?
Wow.
But he can place the ball so well. He plays the most beautiful game of all time. He moves so gracefully around the court. He doesn't move as well as Djokovic. He doesn't serve as well as Sampras. His forehand is nowhere near Ivan Lendl or Boris Becker. He doesn't serve as well as Boris Becker or Ivan Lendl, but his touch around the net is very good. Like Andy Roddick had the greatest serve of all time, but he couldn't hit a forehand or a backhand to save his damn life. So that's why he couldn't make it or really compete with these guys. Federer's game was made for all the courts. He could play in Australia. He could play in London. He could play in Spain. He could play anywhere. Grass, didn't matter. Like his game was for all. Like, you know, if you look at it, what's the little guy, the lefty? Shit, I can't think of his name.
Agassi?
Shit, can't think of his name. Who?
No, Agassi, right?
No, not Agassi was right-handed. Can't think of his name. The Bull, whatever. I can't think of his name right now. But he won most of his titles on clay. And for years he wouldn't even play in
the Spaniard.
I can't even think of his name right now, which is crazy. That's Nadal. He didn't even play on hard courts for a bunch of years. So if you look at his titles, I think he has 11 majors, 8 or 9 of them they're on clay. You know, so for the fact that Sampras was able to do it on all surfaces is amazing. And I just respect. And tennis is by far the hardest of the major sports to actually play. Really? It's the hardest. It's the fastest. There's nothing harder than that. Skateboarding is the hardest thing I've ever done. I think table tennis is the fastest game. Yeah. Hitting a baseball is the hardest thing. Yeah. So it's like every sport has its own discipline that requires a lot out of you as an athlete. You know.
Mm-hmm. So I seen you. How about this? Rookie of the Year, NBA. Who you got in line right now? First.
Oh, this year? Yeah. Well, it's gonna be Ben Simmons.
You think so?
Unless he gets hurt. The kid in Dallas is good.
Dennis Smith Jr.
You have the guy in Utah,
Donovan Mitchell,
savage. I think that's the race right there. The reason why Ben Simmons is going to he's going to be on TV more than the other guys.
Okay.
So I think he has the upper hand, but Mitchell is special. Like Mitchell is really special.
Did you see the news that Blake Griffin got traded today?
Yeah, he got traded for 2 bags of popcorn and a bag of Skittles. They got nothing for him. That was a terrible trade.
Who knows what?
Well, that doesn't mean they're cutting salary. That means DeAndre Jordan is next. So a contender's about to get DeAndre Jordan.
What do you think he's going to Cleveland?
No, I think he's going to wind up in Boston.
But really?
Boston has so much talent to give up. But, like they're not like I think with Big Boy getting hurt, tearing his Achilles in New Orleans, Boogie get out for the year. That killed the market because they could have traded one of the 2 of the big men. Now you can't trade Boogie. Boogie's might be more willing to sign a more friendly contract to stay in New Orleans now because he's going to be coming off an Achilles injury. Yeah. The one thing about Boogie, he's not an athlete. So since he's not an athlete, it's not going to affect his play. He plays his game on the ground. So I don't think the Achilles injury is going to hurt him as much as it would hurt an athletic player. No. But in terms of the trade market, they're not going to trade the Brow now because they don't have anything to replace him with. And they traded Blake to Detroit. So does the Detroit trade Drummond now? I doubt it. It looks like Detroit's trying to be a player now. Yeah. So that means Drummond's off the market. DeAndre Jordan is going to be on the market. I don't believe Jordan is a good fit in Cleveland just due to the fact that you can't have that much non-shooting on the court. So I think Boston could afford to have DeAndre Jordan on the team due to the fact they have so many young pieces. They have so many guards they can train. They have 5 guards that are interchangeable. You got Smart. You got the kid number 12. You have
Terry Rozier.
Rozier. You got
Kyrie.
Who? No, I'm not counting Kyrie. Kyrie's a GOAT. He's chilling. He's their killer. He's going nowhere. But you have like all those young guys. They're all played. They're interchangeable. Yeah. So you can get rid of. Plus, they have picks. They still got picks.
Yeah.
So
what is it? The Brooklyn picks.
Yeah.
Right?
No. They don't have Brooklyn. Cleveland has.
Cleveland's got those now. That's right. Okay. So what do you think about Lonzo Ball, LeVar Ball, and
I love them.
Big Baller Brand?
I love them.
Yeah,
I love them.
You like what they're doing?
I like the concept, and
he's a great marketer, isn't he?
He's a great marketer, but it's kind of one of those things that's I don't know where you're from, but you know where I'm from, you don't lose fights in front of your daddy. He is the typical black man's father who's in a kid's life. Like, you know, he's a man's man. You don't let nobody beat you. You're gonna fight him until you win. Type of dad.
Yeah.
Very confident, you know, and I think that his kids are good. And to be honest with you, the worst one is the middle kid.
Yeah.
The middle kid, it can really play. He can really shoot the basketball, like Klay Thompson level. Like he can shoot the basketball.
Really?
I don't think he plays in a block though. Like he's a big guard. So he posts people up, shoots the ball. He shoots the ball extremely well. He has good release. He gets his shot off. The kid, the young one, he probably has the most upside.
Yeah.
He will be a first round draft pick.
He's talented.
He's 6'7". Like he's 16. He's like 6'7". He might want to be at 6'10". He's not athletic though.
With handle. He's got handle.
Yeah, he can handle the basketball, but he's really not athletic. He's like he is not blessed with athleticism. Yeah. I love Lonzo Ball's game. Lonzo if he had more of his dad in him, he would be a beast. You know, and some of the comparisons they made early on were made because he was light skinned. He's a light skinned black guy. Because if you think about it, he doesn't put pressure on the offense or the defensive end like Jaisyn Kidd did. Yeah. They like that comparison. I would say I don't think he has the same vision. I think he might have the same vision as Kidd. He just doesn't apply enough pressure. in order to make the distances of the passes closer because he gets rid of the ball super fast.
Right.
Typically, a point guard handles the ball. He orchestrates. Lonzo makes the right play. Like, Lonzo is a winning player. He's one of those guys you put on the court, he's going to have a high plus minus due to the fact that he's not going to take a lot of shots. If anything, he's not going to shoot.
Right.
But he actually is a little bit more athletic than people give him credit for. So I would think he's also somebody that I'm actually interested in start buying a little bit because I think his stock has gone down a little bit in terms of what people thought.
Absolutely.
So I think he's somebody that, I might get into later.
Yeah. Why not buy low and to have and sell high later on down the road?
Yeah, most definitely.
He's almost averaging a triple-double. So, I mean,
it's like,
for a year, that's not bad. Yeah.
If his dad didn't say anything, see, this is the problem. If his dad didn't say anything, he may have gotten drafted number 11. Right? But his dad talked so much, he was drafted number 2.
Hype beast. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if he was just allowed just to play, people would be praising his year so far. But since his dad hyped him up so much, it was kind of too much. He didn't have to say my son's better than Steph Curry. It just made it to where people want to see him fail. Instead of cheering him on. And actually, if you're somebody, his game reminds me of Derek Jeter. All right, like I'm an A-Rod guy. Like I'm an A-Rod guy. I wasn't a Jeter guy. I think Jeter is the most overrated player of all time in baseball.
Really?
I think he's the most overrated.
Didn't Jeter, Mr. October.
No, Mr. October is Reggie Jackson. Well, it's September.
Yeah.
Well, he is October. Yeah. I think Jeff Bagwell and Craig Biggio are extremely overrated as well. But mostly Biggio. I think Jeter was never the best player on the Yankees. Agree, disagree? Give me a year where Derek Jeter was the best Yankee. Give me a year. Starting at 93. No, 94.
Yeah.
Oh, actually 95.
What?
You can't.
Yeah. Okay.
He was never the best player. He was never the best shortstop. He was never the best shortstop in the air. Ever. He came up with A-Rod.
What year did they beat the Braves? Was it 96 or 97, right?
Okay, A-Rod was playing baseball.
Well,
he was never better than A-Rod. He was never better than Miguel Tejada during those years.
So you think he rode his teammates?
No, he was a great team player. He was a great team guy. He was All-American. Like, he was baseball. He was hot dog, beer, and Cracker Jacks. Like, he looked the part. Like, we played the Yankees in 1998 when I was in Grambling. And he was like he was just coming up. Like, this might have been his second year in the bigs or something like that. He was skinny, but he looked the part. He wore his uniform and he wore a shirt in his pants. He made the proper throws. Didn't have the strongest arm. Also didn't have great range. That's why he did the jump throw across the diamond, because he didn't have great range. Oh. So that same play that he made having to do the jump throw, A-Rod gets the ball in the hole on one knee, throws the ball out. It's an easy 1-2-3 play. But Derek Jeter does it. It's a jump throw, upper deck card, and out. Right. So don't get me wrong. A-Rod's not A-Rod. Derek Jeter's a great shortstop. But during that time of A-Rod, Tejada, Jeter, he was the worst of the three.
Really? I mean, was it?
Jeter should have went to third. As crazy as that sounds, I'm talking about skill-wise. I'm not talking about because he's the captain of the Yankees. He was not. When he got traded, he was not the better shortstop. When A-Rod went to the Yankees, A-Rod should have still. Jeter should have moved to second.
So you think Jeter should have moved over, let A-Rod play shortstop?
Yes, that would have been for the betterment of the team. Robinson, Cano, Cano could have played third, but he just was not going to give up that spot. Like, it just wasn't going to happen.
Just imagine that team now. You got Cano at second, you got Jeter at short, and A-Rod at third. Like that. That's a squad.
A-Rod went there, won MVP.
Yeah.
Hit 52 home runs. A-Rod is amazing.
But is A-Rod going to have trouble getting into the Hall of Fame?
Of course.
Because
A-Rod is about to take the same course of action as Randy Moss is doing. Randy Moss is doing very well on television. He's making connections. Even though, his character should be an issue. Like A-Rod's, Randy Moss's character should keep him out the Hall of Fame, just like they kept T.O. out the last 2 years. But I have a feeling they're going to make Moss get in, and T.O. is not going to get in. Although I believe both should be first ballot Hall of Famers, but the reasons they kept T.O. out should be the same reason they keep Moss out.
Okay. Why would Moss get in? I'm sorry. I'm a Vikings fan, so he gave me great years. So I love Randy Moss. I know he got into a lot of trouble.
No, Moss quit. Like Moss quit on teams. Like literally quit. He died in Oakland. He needed Tom Brady to revive his career. The one thing about Terrell Owens never quit. Terrell Owens went to practice every day. Terrell Owens never had speeding ticket. Terrell Owens never beat no woman. Terrell Owens never said straight cash homie. Like Terrell Owens on a team. So if you think about it, I know and this is kind of weird now. My personality was more like when I played sports, I never said anything. And this is part of why I didn't make it in sports, because I never talked about how good I was. I never acknowledged my talent. A lot of people, I became the best athlete. I never, my style made me seem like I didn't care. People thought I lacked passion because everything came so easy that it looked like I wasn't trying. But in all actuality, I was just super laid back. And when I got older, I started being a little more vocal about my talent because I didn't get that recognition for how good I was. So sometimes I would tell you how good I was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But with Terrell Owens, he was one of those kind of guys where he would divide a locker room because of his personality. Mm-hmm. Like you couldn't be a chill quarterback, laid back, because T.O. was so rambunctious and so loud. And he galvanized people one way or the other. Either you hated him or you loved him. But what happened is more people loved T.O. in the locker room to where those other guys didn't. And those are the guys who talked to the media and put it out that T.O. was a bad teammate. T.O. literally slept in a hyperbaric chamber for 3 weeks so he could play in the Super Bowl. Then when he plays in the Super Bowl, he was the best player in the Super Bowl on a broken leg. But they lost the Super Bowl. But he also came out and said that his quarterback was tired in the huddle and all that kind of stuff. So I think in some ways he kind of painted himself in a funny way. But when you sit back and look at his career, at the time he retired, he was either number 2 or number 3 in all of the major stats in the history of football. And they played this game with him. And now you let Marvin Harris in before him. Did they let Isaac Bruce in? No, not. What's the other guy? Isaac Bruce and the other guy in St. Louis. I think the other guy got in as well. They're playing these games, these other wide receivers getting into all the Hall of Fame. If he doesn't get in this year, I believe Hines Ward is going to be up in a couple of years. A couple of other guys who I think are going to be in more favor are going to get into the Hall of Fame before T.O. And they might play this game with this man to where every year that he doesn't get in, more guys climb up the stat line. It's going to push him further back. Because I believe Gates is pretty close to catching him on a couple of statistical areas that where T.O. is number 3 currently.
Yeah. He
might wind up number 4 or number 5.
Okay.
And then it's like, well, he's number 5 all the time. He's not number 2 no more. You know, so they're playing games.
Reason to not end up in it.
Yeah, they hate T.O. And T.O. ain't making it no easier because he keeps saying like F the Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? So I hope he gets in. And actually tonight I'm gonna go buy some T.O. cars tonight.
Oh man, you love T.O. All right.
I love T.O.
So let's segue into sneakers, man. So I know you collect sneakers. We briefly discussed about it. You don't have much YouTube videos out there about it, but
actually, you know why? What happened was that, and I probably should have done it, but at the time, you know, YouTube sneaker was huge at one point, and I was into it and I was buying shoes on a regular. Like I got to a point where I was probably dropping maybe close to $3,000 to $5,000 a month on sneakers. I would buy everything that came out.
That's checks.
Over the last couple of years, I got cool with a lot of the guys from New York, and I started noticing they started telling me like, "Hey man, the sneaker market is about to crash." Like they were telling me like about 2 or 3 years ago, they're like, "Look, if you're collecting sneakers because you love them, keep buying them. But if you're collecting for an investment, you might want to dump your collection." And when somebody told me that at first, I just thought they were like, BSing. But then you started quietly seeing about a year and a half ago, all the top YouTube guys started selling their entire collections. Homer Simpson sold all of his. DJ Dell started selling some of his. You had Hess Kicks sold all of his sneakers. Mm-hmm. All those big guys started dumping their sneakers. I was just like, man, there's something to this. So I started I got rid of damn near all of my Jordans, except maybe like my Concord 11 from 2011, my Jordan Cement 4s from 2012, 2011. Some of those type of shoes I kept, but everything else I dumped. But I got into runners. I got off of Jordans and jumped straight into runners. And then, when the complete sneaker market fell, all the resellers started jumping into the runner game. So now it's like one of those things where I have a bunch of shoes and I'll probably wind up, getting rid of a bulk of my collection at some point. But I actually brought down a couple of my shoes as well to give you guys a feel of what, I'm like kind of stuff I'm buying. But these are some of my favorite shoes that I purchased over the last couple of years. But these are the Meta 25th anniversary Ace Gel Light 3 collaboration that came out 2 years ago. These are probably one of the better shoes that came out of the set. But these are hard. Like this is a ridiculous shoe.
Is that suede? Is that suede upper right there on the front and the toe? Yeah.
It has like a brush, like a high brush with the piping. It's nasty. Like it's just like a nasty shoe.
Yeah.
This one.
You ever wear those or no?
I wore them one time. A lot of the shoes I don't wear. But my next shoe that I'm gonna show you is one of my favorite shoes, and I've actually worn this a couple of times. But it's probably one of the ones. This is probably one of the first shoes I bought that had a theme to it.
Okay.
You know what these are?
Bruce Lee's.
No, right. Kill Bills.
Oh,
Kill Bill.
Okay.
See, if you see the splatter.
Yeah.
But I actually met a kid in the parking lot. This is actually pretty funny. I was looking for collaboration shoes because when I first decided to get into runners, I started looking up, like trying to figure out what runners do. What do I buy? Yeah. I used to think that any ASIC was a Ronnie 5. I didn't know what the difference was. And this guy said, "Hey, I got some Kill Bills." And I was like, all right, cool. I was like, where are we going to meet? So we met in a parking lot of a Best Buy. Mm-hmm. And this little Asian guy rolls up to me in like a little Honda Civic.
Yeah.
And he sees me, and I had a tank top on. I just got finished working. I'm all yoked up. He was so scared. He left. He pulled up, and I hopped out, and he just like hit the gas.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? So I like, yo, I was like, that was me. He goes, "Hey man, look, I don't want, you're not gonna rob me, are you?" I was like, I said at the time, my business, I had all my vehicles were wrapped. So I said, "Yo, my phone number and my face is on my car."
Yeah.
So he comes back and he was like, "Hey man," he was like, "You big as hell, man." He's like, "I heard of people getting robbed, so I got scared." But this was like the first shoe that started me with that, the Kill Bill, and then a couple of other shoes that are my favorites. So happen to be concept shoes, but these also came from the 25th anniversary set, and these are also one of the better shoes that came out in the last couple of years.
Now that looks like an Olympics. Is that something? Does it have anything to do with the United States Olympic team or anything like that?
It has something to do with the United States. It had to do with the Boston Tea Party.
Okay.
So that's what it kind of has, that patriotic type little flow to it. But the whole concept of the shoe was around the Boston Tea Party. So that's the name of the shoe. Okay. Is the Boston Tea Party.
That's clean.
It's a beautiful shoe.
Oh yeah, I love the red, white, blue colorway.
Well, actually, it's a bone. That's bone. But this is also the thing with these shoes. The ones that got me into buying these was that they were supposed to limit each shoe to like 100, either 2011 shoes, whatever the year was. So it was like, I think it came out in 2012.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be that number of shoe. Actually, these are a size 12. I just realized this is a size. They sent me the wrong shoe. That's crazy. I just realized that. But I'm selling the shoe, by the way. But they each of the shoes were supposed to be limited like that. So they had 12 different shoes. 12 different companies or sneaker shops got a chance to make a shoe, and they made them super limited. So to get these shoes were very, very hard. And I hadn't worn any of them, like except like none of the 25th anniversary shoes have I worn, but I'm actually selling them now. But that one, and then probably my favorite shoe over the last 4 years. This is by far probably my favorite shoe. It's the Concept Rose.
Nice.
This shoe is like, it's super sweet. Concepts did like a crazy job on the shoe, and it's super simple, but it's just fresh.
So that's a collab, right, with New Balance?
Yes. So they've done quite a few collabs, but all of my shoes look like this. So I worn this one time, but most of my shoes have no, like they like little, like all of them look new because I have so many pair.
Yeah. That
with something like this, I might wear, take a picture on Instagram, and put them back in the box.
Right.
But that one, and this is probably my most fun pair. Now it's nowhere near my most expensive pair, anything like that, but it's probably just my favorite pair due to my history.
Okay.
But you know what these are?
Yeah.
What's the name?
Those are Hirachis, right?
No, these are Bo Jacksons.
Okay.
But
I was about to. All right.
These are the broken bats, and if you look at it, they have like the Nintendo image of Bo Jackson breaking his bat.
Wow.
So these are the broken bat Bo Jacksons.
Okay, see, that's a nice shoe, man. I like that shoe.
Now, the funny thing about this shoe, Bo Jackson is my guy. Like, he's up there, like, with me. I wanted this shoe so bad that I bought this in this is a size 10. I bought it and I wore it. I didn't care. Like, I had to have this shoe.
You had to squeeze into it. Huh?
I mean, it had the Bo Jackson on the back.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like a crazy shoe for me, but I love this shoe. And also
in the Kansas City Royal blue color too.
Exactly. Yes. Now, also I collect throwback jerseys as well. So I have a large collection of throwback jerseys. I got into that around the same time I was buying. After I sold my sneaker collection the first time, I came back buying throwback jerseys and baseball cards and stuff like that. But I got burnt a bunch of times on Mitchell and Ness throwback stuff because it was like fake.
Yeah.
So I had to start buying directly.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So this was a couple of the shoes that, like, these are probably, like, of the last couple of years, some of my favorites. But I've had a lot of luck on sneaker apps. So I had all the Drake shoes. I had the Doernbechers. I had a bunch of Doernbechers and stuff like that. So I used to buy everything that came out. It just now is just not fun anymore. It's just like everybody has all the shoes. I went to a sneaker. This is when I knew I had to get out of the sneaker game. We had a huge sneaker show down here, and I brought probably about 8 to 10 different pair of shoes. Now, I was wearing runners at the time, so I only had my one pair of Jordan Doernbechers, but I went there and everybody had the same shoes. Like, they were trying to sell, everybody's holding up their shoes at the convention.
Yeah.
But they all had the same shoes. And I was like, you know what? The sneakers are done.
Get these things.
It's done. But just like, say, for instance, if I made a post today on my Instagram.
Yeah.
I posted the sneakers and I posted the cars that I showed you tonight. And one of the guys that he and I were both on the USA Olympic team, or the USA powerlifting team, Team USA, he said, you could tell we're the same age. We have the same cars.
Oh, that's tight.
But he said that, I think he just said that because the cars that I showed tonight are like from the 70s. Like, I didn't have those cars growing up as a kid. Those are cars I bought as a grown man. But him saying that made it seem like if I go through someone's collection and you tell me your age, I almost don't even have to look at your cars. I already know what you have.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So with sneakers, absolutely, it's gotten to that point where everybody has that Jordan or this Jordan.
No, you're absolutely right. And he continues to print the same shoe. Like we're on like our third or fourth black cement 3s. He just dropped black cement 3s again. You know?
No, they haven't dropped yet.
Well, they did a sneak drop on us. So
when did they do it?
They did it on the sneakers app Saturday or Sunday. But yeah, they just snuckily, you know. And my friend was like, "Go to the app now," and I was like, oh, "I missed it." But
I mean, that's the shit. I mean, but I think they can't. The problem is they just did too many. I think it was somebody. They should have hired people in the culture to tell them to slow down or just make the shoes limited. Like, if you're going to drop a shoe so often, like when you look at the Bel Air, the Jordan Bel Air, I wore that shoe one time, right? And I wore it 2 times. I sold that shoe for $400 because they only made, I think the number was 18,000. They made 18,000 pair of the Bel Air. I was able to get that shoe.
Okay.
That shoe had, and it's a good shoe. It's not the best Jordan, but the numbers were done to the point where it had value. So I think that they think that just because it's Jordan and they're selling so much, I think they stopped putting it this is weird. I tell people this all the time. If somebody's not going to get killed over the shoe, I don't want it. Now, I don't want anybody to die over the shoe, but I want people to want the shoe so bad to where there are lines around the corner and they come out and say, we're all out. That means you have something that's a piece. It's something that everyone doesn't have. I don't want to be able to go to the store, and I think a lot of fake sneakerheads, I'm going to say this, DJ Dells does this a lot, and I follow him, but I think he's one of those guys who puts that, like, look, man, I want everyone to get a sneaker. You know, you should be able to just go to the store. I want them to go on sale. You know, I want them to be for the people. These resellers, they're bad. You know, all this kind of stuff. But what happens is when shoes aren't hot no more, or Nike doesn't send you a pair of shoes, now it's whack. You know what I'm saying? So I think some sneakerheads kind of have it's like a fake love type thing. Like, some people want the exclusivity of having a shoe that no one else has. But then when you can't get a shoe, you want to say it should be for everybody. But now all the Jordans are sitting. You can buy almost any Jordan that's come out in the last year and go and get it. Who wants that? I don't want it. Yeah. I want something that no one else has. And I think until they bring that back this year, they're supposed to make the shoes limited again.
Yeah.
But they messed up when they did the first round of quality control, where they were like, hey, redoing the materials, but they went up $25 on the shoes, and then kept the numbers high. So it's like they have some pretty good shoes that are beautiful shoes, but people just don't want them anymore. They're tired.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. And I feel like the reselling market, because now if you think about it, you have all these bots, right? Like, people aren't even going out and getting the shoes anymore. They've created bots to go out and just, it's been basically configured to go in and buy shoes, and then, you know, the people will go and buy a slot, right, or a spot for this bot to get the shoe for them. And then they get a receipt in the mail or an email, you know, that says, hey, we got your shoe for you and we're sending it to you. Like, there's no passion. It's just like you said. Nowadays, it's like, I want to get a shoe, but there's no feeling like when you actually went and you stood in line, or that you actually went and you were able to get online and get the shoe as it released, right? Like, that's where the passion lies, because that's where collecting is, right? Like, most of these people say, oh, I'm a sneaker collector and all this other stuff, but they go and buy a bot, right? It's like, well, you don't have much of a story to tell me if you just went and bought a bot and they sent it to your house, right? So it's like, I'm with you 100%. The resale thing too is kind of it's kind of a problem, because now what it's done is, instead of bringing collectors into the game, you think about it, it's
investors.
Right, exactly. So these people have no attachment to it at all. They just want to make a quick buck.
Now, don't get me wrong. Now, a lot of these shoes I purchased them with passion, but then my frustration with the market, because I'm one of those people that won't wear the shoe initially. Like, so say for instance, when those all red Jordan patent leathers came out, I wanted that shoe very badly.
Okay.
And I could have bought the shoe.
Yeah.
But I said, you know what, let me stay away from the shoe. I went out that day. Everybody had that shoe on that day. Now, if I would have purchased that shoe, I probably wouldn't have worn the shoe probably for another month or two, because I would have waited for everybody else's shoes to get messed up, and then I bring them out with a fresh pair, a nice outfit with it.
Yeah.
But now you don't have that same enjoyment, because when you decide to wear the shoe, they're dropping another. They did 3 more releases of the shoe. The numbers, they're not being honest with the production numbers of the shoe, so it's not special. So I might have purchased a shoe with the intent and with a good heart, but if they keep making a bunch of them, bunch of restocks, the resale is low, which means the shoe is not desirable. It's like there's no rush to wear a shoe. It used to be like when a shoe was hot, you couldn't wait to put that thing on, because you had it. No one else had it but you.
Yeah.
Like, that has lost its luster. So for me, my heart's not in it anymore, and it's only a few pair of shoes that I've actually just had to have. Like, I had to have the silver 97s. I had to have those.
Yeah.
I bought those a size too small, like, because I wanted that shoe. I had a connection to that shoe, so I bought it, even though it was too small. That's what they need to bring it back to that. Not people.
Those silver 97s were, oof. Yeah.
But see, like right now, they're just chilling in my garage. Like, I have 2 pair of J's in my garage right now that I lift weights in. But I just don't, like, now I just beat up. I got like 5 pair of shoes. I get them. I wish I could have showed you my sneaker room with all my sneakers in. I haven't been in there.
Maybe next time we can do it again. So.
But it's just like that desire of collecting is gone. And it's like, until you find that passion or something that makes you want to do it, I honestly don't see the sneaker game coming back. What I think will happen, and has to happen, is that there were a bunch of J's that dropped over the last 3 years. I think were highly slept on. Like, I'm talking about, like, severely slept on. I'm talking about those Marvin Martian number 9s. Is that 9s or 7s? 7s. Those Martians.
Okay.
Great leather on that shoe. That shoe was on sale for $99. That's a great shoe. If some of those shoes don't come back, when kids stop wearing these old shoes, like, kids are into wearing beat up shoes for the culture, like these beat up Air Jordan 1s, and now Nike is throwing all these weird Jordan 1s at you now. It's like they have to be able to come back. If they don't come back, Jordans are going to be at Walmart.
Really? You think so?
They're still making money. So I think they gave up. They just gave up too much to sell. Like, I don't know how much they made, or it was no one in the building that told them, stop. Like, y'all, we're doing too much.
Yeah, the bottom's doing too much. Out.
Yeah, it's too much. It's just like that bubble. I think the bubble just bust forever.
But you're absolutely right, though, because the one is the Retro 1, right? The Jordan Retro 1. You're absolutely right. It's like everybody wants it all of a sudden, right? And it hasn't always been that way. It was actually probably the most least collected, right, of all of them. And nobody thought that was, but for, how trends change. And then Nike's like, hey, they love the ones. Let's pump it. So then next thing you know, you got these Gatorade ones that come out, and they're just sitting on the shelves. And
they're trash.
I mean, you're absolutely right, though. So I've seen you in a couple of your videos, right? You're jumping out the gym in Jumpmans. Are Jordans your number 1?
No. What used to happen with the Jordans in the videos was that I tried to tie in the Jordans with the sneaker crave with my video. So because back in 2008 was when I first started making my dunk videos.
Yeah.
I was like featured on all the dunk, like Hoops mixtape, Ball is Life. I've been featured on Baller's Life a bunch of times.
Really? And you
Yeah,
guys
I
need
did.
to go and check him out. It's some of his dunks are absolutely amazing. He'll slow it down for you, and it's just his head's like at the rim, which I know that took probably tons of work, right? A lot of what plyometrics, fast twitch muscles. You were or just heavy lifting on the. I mean,
Man, I won't lie. I want to lie to you. Some of it is natural, like just God given ability. I could always jump. I was the state dunk champion in 1996 in Louisiana.
Wow.
As a senior and coming out of high school. But
Okay.
I was able, I could jump from the free throw line. I'm 6'1", and during this time when I realized I could jump in 2005, 2006, when I realized I still could jump because I didn't know. I went to a gym one day and just started doing 360 dunks. The next thing you know, I'm doing between the leg dunks. Now at the time, I was huge compared to most people. I was 6'1", about 230.
You look big,
And I was able to. I was hitting my head on the rim. I still have a gash on my head when I hit my head on the rim. But I was going to places, and next thing you know, I was doing Adidas commercial. I did a what they call it, a spec commercial for Adidas. Went out to Florida, shot these videos, and I was with some of the best dunkers in the world. Some of the guys who wound up going to do video game dunking, like where they, like, you know, EA Sports bring them in, they put them in the suits, and they got a chance. So I got a chance to dunk with a lot of those guys, some of the best in the world. And at the time, I was 32, 33 years old. These guys are 19, 22. But one thing about the dunkers that people don't know is these guys lie about their heights, right? Like most times they're always taller than whatever they put themselves as. So, right. So I went to Orlando and I'm flying in and everybody there was saying they were 6'1", right? So I'm really not 6'1". I'm more like 6'1.5", right? But I just say I'm 6'1". I get there. These dudes are like a full 2 to 3 inches taller than me and they're saying they're 6 foot. And I'm sitting up there like, what the hell is going on? So we get there for the shoot. And I'm one of those people, when I do one of those, I used to do a dunk video every week. And after I did that dunk video, it would take me about 3 to 4 days to heal up again so I could do it again.
Wow.
And we had to do dunk shoots. Like, we'll be at one park. All right, we about to go to another park. I'm like, wait, tomorrow? They're like, nah, today.
Oh.
So they were doing dunk videos like at different parks every day. So I went there. I had tore my quadricep before I went. And I went out there and made the best out of it, got a few pretty good dunks out of it, but I wasn't at 100%.
Yeah. And
from there, I was supposed to be on Pros versus Joes.
Okay.
This is actually pretty
video. I've seen that
okay.
video.
This is actually pretty good. Robert Ory, people try to blackmail me to get on Pros versus Joes. I get contacted. I make the video saying I was going to be the greatest Joe of all time. Pros versus Joes, Spike TV sees it. They contact me immediately. Like,
wow.
Yo, we want you on the show. Now, at the time, Pros versus Joe used to be, they'll pick every sport. They'll get a baseball, they'll get a boxer, they'll get basketball, football, track and field, hockey, and you'll compete against 7 or 8 pros at their given sport. Mm-hmm. And they, so I'm thinking, if you take my talents amongst like just overall, I like my chance against anybody in the world. I don't care how old they are. If you put me against somebody in all the sports together, my total is going to be better than anyone else's. Well, the year that I was supposed to be on there, they changed the rule. They changed it to, it was just one sport. It was either football or basketball. Now, mind you, I can throw a football 85 yards. I can jump through the roof, but I wasn't a football player or a basketball player per se. But I was 200. I was running 4.40, whatever. And I remember Ricky Williams and Mike Vick were both out of football, and they both were on Pros versus Joes. Their agents wouldn't allow them to have me on the show with them for football.
Wow.
They see my video.
You were showing up.
Well, it could have got ugly. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't do that. So they said, well, look, they got basketball. And I was like, all right, cool, we're going to do basketball. So every day, the producers from the show would call me. And they were like, hey, look, we're loving your videos. They're playing my videos all the time. They're like, look, we're going to match you up and say you're the greatest Joe of all time. Can the pros beat the Joe? They were trying to market it that way. Now at the time, so every single day, I'm on the phone with Hollywood about Pros versus Joes. I was also like talks about me being on Survivor, like a bunch of stuff, right? I had a shoe deal or a shoe situation with Innovate because of my jump videos. So my videos are circulating, things of that nature. One day I get a phone call and I was like, hello. And it's like, hey, I can't, the guy actually works for Ball is Life now. And the guy says, hey man, he says, we see you want to be on Pros versus Joes. I was like, well, I'm already on Pros versus Joes. This, pretty much locked. And he goes, well, look, I represent Robert Orr. Robert Orr is my business partner. He says, we hear you have a Vertical Leap DVD that you're working on. And I was like, yeah, I do. I said, I'm going to put it out after I do Pros versus Joes. And he goes, well, look, how about this? We are doing one too. This is when Team Flight Brothers was huge. Dunking was huge. Like at this point, dunking was like big time. It was bigger than it is today. And he said, we need a video. I said, well, what you mean? He said, well, look, I was like, all right, cool. How much you going to pay me? He said, nah, we can't pay you because we already paid a trainer and we paid a dunker. You may know the dunker. His name was Air Up There. He's like the first person to do a 720, right? Oh, yeah. And the trainer name was James something. I can't think of his full name right now. This is actually a pretty funny story because he has a gym now in Houston. But they had paid them already for the video up front. I think they gave them like $15,000 and $25,000 to do a video. Okay. Well, months had gone by and they had never shot anything. So they're like, look, we need to get something out. So they were trying to buy my content to let them use it for the video. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, how much you gonna give me? They said, we can't pay you, but you can get promotion by letting us use it. And I was like, so wait a minute, you're gonna pay another trainer and a dunker to use my content? And he said, well, look, I'll make sure you get on Pros versus Joes. Well, I'm like, well, I'm already on Pros versus Joes. I don't need you. He said, okay. So week later, get a phone call. My producer was changed. I'm no longer on Pros versus Joes. And one of the guys I did the commercial with in Orlando was doing Pros versus Joes. But guess who was on Pros versus Joes? Who? Robert Orr.
Oh my gosh.
So I didn't get to do Pros versus Joes, and I actually confronted Robert Orr at Memorial.
Is he out there?
Yeah, he's out there. And it's actually pretty funny. So he was running, he was jogging.
Yeah.
And he's tall as hell. He's like 6'11". He's like really that tall.
Yeah. And
I see him, and I'm like, I'm about to go ask him about this Pros versus Joes thing. So I run up on him, and he kind of was like, I'm a big dude. He was just like, what's up? I said, hey, man. I was like, I don't know if you remember this, but you used to have this dunk company, blah, blah, blah. He was like, yeah, I used to own that company. I was like, yeah, I was supposed to do this video. He was like, oh, yeah, I remember that, man. And he didn't really know what was going on with it, but he was like, yeah, I used to own that company, and my business partner ran it. So fast forward, 2 years ago, I had put on a Vince Carter throwback jersey. I don't know if you saw this. I put a Vince Carter throwback jersey on. Yep. I did a 360. Regular day in the gym. I do a 360 dunk. Boom. Don't pay no mind to it. My cell phone was hot. Like I'm feeling it in my pocket. And it's like super hot. And I'm just like, what the hell? I'm thinking I had a bad battery. And I didn't even check it. Yeah. So I pick up the phone and all these lights. My phone is just moving. Like all these screens are just rolling. All these people on Instagram liking. Bleacher Report posted my video. It got like 5 million views. And all these people are adding, liking my page, whatever. And they were like, Vince Carter can't do this dunk today. Powerlifter, 6'1", Jaisyn Mike, almost 300 pounds, doing a 360 dunk at 38 years old. So it blows up. They did, if you Google dunking powerlifting, all these countries, it was in Sweden and Italy, Paris. I'm doing interviews. People are writing about it. Starting a trend, but when this happened, all these people started doing, they started trying to research me and look me up to find out who's this guy. The guy who, for Ball is Life, he said, he's the person that I met with that was Robert Orr's business partner. And he wrote another article on me about how we met and had dinner and discussed, working together. But it was just funny that, after all these years later, 8 years later, Ball is Life did another story on it. So that, if you look it up, it's under Ball is Life. It's like Dunking Powerlifting. They did a nice little write-up on me. But it was just interesting that happened.
That's pretty crazy, man. So it's almost like he kind of hooked you up later on down the road, like.
Not really, because I wasn't ready for it. I didn't have, like I said, normally if I do something I think it's like pretty crazy, my website be ready. I'll be ready to sell something.
Right.
I'll have a dunk program ready. I just posted a regular dunk. Like a 360 dunk for me is regular.
Yeah. And
I didn't realize people would lose their minds over it. Like, I believe Vince Carter even liked it. It was like crazy. It was like, can Vince Carter jump as high as this dude? And then people started getting interested in my story. Like, what happened? Why he didn't make it in football? I was like, well, I wasn't a football player. I was a baseball player. But I did work out for, teams and stuff like that. But my story got more and more out there, and so it kind of brought more people into me lifting weights versus, basketball. So I'm known as a powerlifter now, but most people know me for my dunk videos.
You guys, if you get a chance, go and check out his dunk videos. They're absolutely amazing. I'm a huge dunk enthusiast myself. I love the NBA. I love basketball. I honestly think that Zach LaVine could have given, and now a lot of people are gonna give me crap about this, but this last dunk contest was amazing, was it not? Like, some of the stuff that they were doing, like, Aaron Gordon took the ball out of the dude's hand as he spin. Like, there's so much that went into a lot of.
All right. Now this is what I would say. I think Zach LaVine, he dunks better than Jordan.
Zach LaVine is just smooth. Right?
He's smooth. He jumps. The guys now.
So clean.
This is the thing. Like, and I found this out. I was like, back in the day, the best dunkers were the best players. Now you have a group of kids who don't even know how to play basketball. All they know how to do is dunk. Mm-hmm. So the dunking quality, that's why you stop seeing the stars in the dunk contest. Back in the day, Dominique Wilkins, Magic Johnson, Larry Nance, Larry Johnson. Mm-hmm. Those guys were supposed to be they were marquee players. Now the guys in the dunk contest are people you never heard of. They even bringing guys from the D League to the dunk contest. And to be honest with you, the best dunkers in the world are street ball players. So the dunk has lost its luster. And also, if you think about it, Steph Curry is kind of helping destroy the dunk game, because now kids don't even care about dunking. They want to, between the legs, Kyrie Irving you high off the glass, or shoot the pure jump shot, which I think actually is actually saving the game. But the dunk has just lost its luster. But the thing is that, I'm 300 pounds, I can still dunk off vertical. That to me, like, I posted a video.
You can still dunk?
Oh, what? I just did that. All my stuff is current. So if you go on my Instagram, it's Mr. Athletic over everything.
Okay. I
post a lot of stuff there. But I still dunk, still do 360s, dunk off vertical, windmills, all this stuff is current.
Okay.
So that's the thing.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just never stopped doing it, so I always could do it.
That's crazy. Did you ever make that video that you were thinking of making? Because I know
which one?
The dunk video. I mean, because there's.
Oh, you're talking about the jump program?
Yeah, the actual jump program. Because people make good money off of that, and if you still are even thinking about doing it, I guarantee you that there's a market for it. I mean, you could probably with your video package alone. I mean,
I think the time passed for it. People now get that information for free. YouTube has changed it to where instead of making the DVD sale, people are getting the money off of views. So in terms of making informative dunk videos and informational videos, I missed the mark with that, because what I did was I put out a lot of videos like, look at me, and people look at it, but then at some point they go, well, what about me? Help me do it. And I didn't do that. So I have a full jump video that I just never shot. So I have professional cameras, I have drones, I have all the equipment to do it, It's just that powerlifting has kind of muttered it a little bit for me, to where I'm gonna have, like, when I do it, I'm probably gonna do a whole series behind it where I'm gonna cut from 290 back down to about 230, 240, then shoot it. I just think that at the time when I do it, no one's gonna care. Like, no one's gonna buy it. But there may be people that watch it. But the market for it was 2006 to 2009. Like, someone could have put out a dunk, like how to dunk. I had a website, dunktips.com.
Yeah.
And it was so much.
Yeah, jump manual.
You know, a lot of people bought that. Yeah. But I just missed it. I think I missed it. But for the fact that I'm 40 years old, still can dunk, people want to know how. But now people just say it's because I lift heavy, I squat heavy. When in all actuality, that's not true. But I was jumping my best ever 2 years ago, and I tore my quad. But I was 37 years old, and I started jumping just as high as I was when I was 29, you know?
Yeah. Man, that's crazy. Well, it's like you never get old. It's like you just keep going.
I feel it. No, I feel it. It's just that my recovery time isn't as great as it used to be, you know?
Well, that's amazing, man. If you guys ever get a chance, you need to go check out Jaisyn Mike. You need to check him out at Jmikefitness on YouTube.
Yes, but also if you want to see current stuff, the Instagram is where you'll see things a lot faster.
Okay.
So if you go to my Instagram, it's Mr. Athletic. Yeah, Mr. Athletic over everything, and my stuff pops up.
Okay.
And I post a lot of stuff there.
Yeah. All right. So Mr. Athletic over everything, and Jaisyn, we'll put all of your, we'll just get together, and then you can give me all your complete package. We'll put it underneath the interview. And people can just go and reference that whenever they want to hit you up. But yeah, if you guys ever are in the Houston area and you're looking for a physical trainer or an athletic trainer, hit J Mike up. He's, as you can see, he's an awesome guy, and he probably wouldn't have a problem giving you a session. Well, Jaisyn, I really appreciate your time today. Keep doing what you're doing. I mean, the hardware is amazing, and do you have any short-term goals as far as more weight or anything like that? Are you trying to hit a certain range or
700-pound bench press?
Okay. Hey. Okay.
It sounds crazy, but currently right now, there's never been a person under 308 pounds to bench press more than me in a competition, drug tested.
Yeah.
So all time, there's been less than 100 men to bench press 600 pounds in competition, but most of them are way bigger than me, or they're on drugs or non-tested. So drug tested, the all-time bench press for a full meet or any kind of meet for under 308 is 633 pounds. And that guy did it 10 years, actually 14 years ago. So I'm going to attempt to break 633 this year. And hopefully by the end of mid-year, the end of the year, I like to be right around 700 pounds.
Wow. On
bench. And I'll be weighing under 308 pounds. That's all that. It's only been 5 minutes in the history to bench press 700 pounds in competition. Now, that's a long shot. I've only bench pressed 612 pounds in competition now, but based on how 600 pounds feels right now, it feels like 500 pounds did a couple of years ago. So I think that as long as I don't get hurt, I think I got a shot.
Okay. Well, stay healthy, man, and we're all rooting for you. Let's get back together maybe at the end of the year, see if you were able to do it. And we can have another show and maybe talk about some of the latest collectibles that you picked up. I know you're going to, like you said, you were going to probably go and buy some Jose Canseco. Or no, wait, who was it? Terrell Owen cards right after this.
Terrell Owen's cards tonight,
yeah. So, we could do this again sometime soon, man. And once again, I really appreciate you taking the time out your day and doing this interview. And thanks, man.
No problem, man. Anytime.
All right,
later.